Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another MCU Aftershow episode where we talk about the latest and greatest on Disney Plus. One of my favorites is Moonknight. So we're gonna talk about episode 4. Number 4. So everybody that's watching, thank you for stopping by. Everybody in the Facebook groups, thank you for checking this out as we go live. And on the panel with me, I have the ever amazing, one and only, Paul. You just smiled for the crowd? Is that what Paul said? Is that it? Smiling like a pineapple. And then we have the administrator of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Facebook group, Paris. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm excited to see this, talk about this episode. Episode 4 was a great one. So many different things to talk about when it comes to the live, like what's going on in this show. I'm just it's incredible to see. I'm just I don't know what's going on. Do you guys know what's going on? So many different things, so many different possibilities.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to say this for the record. I'm pretty confident. I think I know what's going on. Even at the end of this episode, I'm very sure of what's going on. So, let's kind of get into it, right? So let's talk about it. I don't know, Paul. If I think we're live on the Facebook group too. We should hopefully.
We're live.
Yeah.
Okay, they didn't give me an alert. The other one gave me an alert for GQ TV, but not for MCU.
No, it's good.
Okay,
good.
I'm just letting you know.
I appreciate it. That. Yeah, I always appreciate it. So anyway, I'm gonna start off where this episode basically opens up with his wife kind of like they're in the sand, and Steve or Mark, whichever personality last took hold at the moment, is kind of knocked out, right? Like he's not moving or anything like that. He's just knocked out. And some bad guys just want to come in and either kidnap him or hurt him, whatever it is. And his wife throws a flare and saves the day, and they take off into the sunset or the moon set, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, let's be correct here. That's Mark's wife. Remember, he's not, it depends on who's in the body at the time, but that's Mark's wife. Yeah.
So, Paul, how do you feel about this, right? Like this opening scene. Are you ready for an action-packed episode, or are you just like, come on, let's get to the good stuff?
Well, I mean, because, at the end of the last episode when we saw, the god basically get put into the little figurine, and so I would at the end of it, I didn't know what was going to happen with Mark and with what's the other name? I'm sorry, I'm trying to blank. Steven, because I didn't know how tied they were to the powers of the god. So, but now they're still there, and I think they're both actually surprised they're still there, but that's another part of it. I was wondering how they were going to get out of that mess, because the last we saw, he was definitely knocked unconscious, and she was going to have to deal with this on her own. I did like the fact that she basically rolled him down the hill to get out of the way, just unceremoniously gave him a boot. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I really like that sequence. I thought they did it really well. Though I did kind of think the bad guys were kind of stupid. Look around the car, but nobody had thought to look in the car. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta agree there. So, Paris, how do you feel about this? The opening and.
Yeah, it was good. It was like you didn't know if he was dead or alive based off the them messing around with the timeline to get the stars right. And then the power of the Moon Knight goes away. And he's like sitting there, and he's like, I'm saying, well, she's sitting there. She's like, what the heck is going on? So she rolls him down the hill. I just thought that when they were going through all that, she really sort of stepped up and was pretty much showed how badass of a character she is, how strong she is. She was like, I think Paul, you alluded to it, like in Aliens, when she
Yeah.
did the flare when they were about to get him. you know,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
she
all
killed
of a sudden
Tony
they
Weir.
cut across it. It was a split between two scenes. It reminded me of Jurassic Park when you know when that character pulls out the flare to get rid of the T Rex, and it's almost, I think, if you were to look at those scenes, it's almost the same. Stepping around and looking around the car, and here comes the person with the flare, and then
Right.
and then it reminded me of the whole "get away from her, you know,
Yeah.
so and
You
so."
alien.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
So like as they're going through that, I was like, she got him with the flare and firecrackers went off in the truck. That was the only part that sort of bugged me about that whole scene was like when she threw the flare in there. I was like, you know, um, I would have probably been cool if they would have gave her a grenade and threw it in the truck and then blew the truck up instead of a flare. But I know you got the whole sort of like flare action right there, right? She lights it up and stuff. But they had a 50 cal gun. They should have probably just shot up the entire car. So you would think they would do that, so how hardcore they were. But yeah, it was good. I like the tone that they were setting. And then once they get into the next part, he's up and she's like, oh, and they cut to the next scene. So yeah, it was good. I love it. What about you, Carlo? What's next on the agenda for that?
Well, for me, I'm gonna admit I was snacking a little bit during this episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing that I really remember is when they're in the pyramid and they're looking around, and you see like Steven so enticed in everything that they're looking at, and Layla is just like looking at the statues and the walls, and she puts that remembrance thing down, you know. And from there, we kind of get right into a mummy scene or a mummified scene, whatever that thing is, whatever creature it is, whether it's a mummy, a zombie. Honestly, I don't know, but it was something, right?
pretty sure it's not a zombie. I think we're gonna stay with it.
But technically,
Yeah,
are mummies zombies? I
Mm,
mean, the living dead, right? They're
yeah,
dead.
yeah. It was an
Yes, I
interesting,
mean,
it's a creepy
mm.
scene.
very creepy. Yeah, very kind of
Yeah,
creepy there.
yeah.
So
They
when
brought
we
the.
get,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so when we get into that scene, Paris, what do you think?
Oh yeah, Marvel Studios brought horror back into this, right? Because it was a whole sort of like tense moment. She's hiding behind the table thing there, and you can see her hair like sticking up over the top. Like the creature doesn't know he's busy just ripping out the dude's insides and throwing them in the jar. So yeah, it was kind of creepy because they were making that little sound, and I was like, okay, okay. And then, after she gets out of there, she's running and, she's about to fall off the side of the cliff and stuff like that. And then the things are like reaching out through the holes in the wall. And then they grab her. Like that was intense right there. I think that was added that extra horror element to sort of the Moon Knight aura of the character in the show. So
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting they were going to go there, but it was good. I liked the fact that they
Mm.
did that added that horror element. What do you think,
Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah, that part where they grabbed her and yanked her back. I mean, even that kind of startled me a little bit, but it was a really cool effect, though. It's
Yeah.
like you knew it was coming, but still, you weren't quite sure what was going to happen. Was Mark/Steven going to step in and do something at that point? Because
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah, that whole sequence was really cool.
yeah, they didn't grab her twice. She like got away. She was like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yep.
it's
I think
crazy.
they did that because that way oh, she got away. Nope, no, she
No,
she
she
got
didn't.
again. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that whole sequence. I thought that was very well done. Yeah, when he was basically taking the entrails out of the guy and putting them into separate jars, basically like
yeah,
he was getting ready to mummify him because that's what they used to do. But you know, so I don't know what the intent was there.
Maybe making
Well,
more mummies or zombies, Paul?
not zombies. Can we stay away from the Z
The
word,
Nexus
please?
event?
the Marvel zombie verse.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, in that Spider-Man cutout scene, there was a zombie, So I'm thinking Nexus event, guys. I'm thinking zombies somewhere. Because we also
Ah,
got Gore, the God Killer that's entering the universe, and he's ready to. He's ready to do some damage.
If anybody who's watching wants me to thump Carlo with a pineapple at MegaCon, let us know in the chat. Okay, no zombies, mummies.
I'm just getting excited.
Zombies, here. Almost. Well, they're not the same thing, but yeah. I love the direction. It's sort of me, man. I'm telling you, it's leading to Midnight Suns. The whole sort of dark element of this, like it's I'm liking the direction.
Midnight. Oh yeah, Midnight Suns. They fight zombies.
There you go.
Yes. And vampires and werewolves.
And and vampires.
But not pineapples.
Evil Egyptian gods that torment the earth.
So
at least. Yeah, I think we're okay as long as we're not starting to use the Stargate to get around. We're good. So
So when we get into the scene and we start seeing the action, like how this mummified creature, walking mummy, kind of notices where Steven, aka Mark, is at the top, and he runs taking off, right? Layla goes a different way. Layla ends up on this area that's like almost like a cliff. She almost falls off out of fear, throws the creature off the cliff after sticking a flare in its eye. Zombie. And then you see Arthur come in and tries to talk to her, but in a very calm, psychological way to get information from her, right? He's trying to really convince her that, hey, I'm the good guy. Mark is the bad guy here. Mark is the bad guy.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that whole scene, the eye-opening scene where we find out that basically Mark was with her dad when he was killed by one of Mark's partners?
Yeah.
They alluded to that in the previous episode. We knew something was up there, but we didn't have a lot of information. So we knew he was going to use that to try to get under her skin.
Right.
And the whole first he's, you're much stronger than I thought you would be, blah, blah, blah. Paying her compliments and stuff.
I'm curious to know who Mark's partner was that shot him, and shot and killed her father, right? So that sort of flipped the script on her, because when he told her the first time in one of the earlier episodes, she was sort of didn't know how to react to it. She just probably thought he was lying and stuff like that. But this time she's he really believed.
Well, because didn't Mark in the earlier episode say he's just trying to get into your head?
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to make you doubt me. If I recall in the earlier episode, that's how he tried to push it off, because he didn't want to address it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, he knew something was going on there.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's quite interesting. I wonder what happened. I believe that he's telling the truth, where the guy shot him, and then because he's like, he shot me too, and I think that sort of relieved some of the stress. But she probably was like, "Did you meet me because my father was killed?" Sort of thing. Like, was this all a sham? Were you just start a relationship with me because you felt guilty about my father's death? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, because at that point, didn't he say, and I died, which would be when would be when the whole process of him going into Steven's body would have occurred.
Yep.
So.
Or Mark's body, really, because that was Mark.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the part that's confusing, because Mark came first. That is important to remember. Mark was there first.
His birth name was Mark Spector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother thing, and I mentioned it when we were talking before, is her timing of wanting answers now. It's like you're in a life and death situation. They're going to be coming to get you, but hey, let's stop and talk about this. Let's talk this out. Really? No, let's move. Okay, let's go. We'll talk later. We'll get a coffee. Okay?
You're like, yeah. Can we talk about this later? She's like, no, I need answers now. Like, there's like zombies running around and one snatched you up.
Yeah. Stephen finds the tomb of Alexander the Great, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm not exactly sure 100% that why he knows he's even reaching down the mummified body. He just has this feeling that something's there, right? That they're looking
No,
for.
he said why. He kind of said why, because it was the mouth of the god. So okay,
Yeah.
mouth. So
The mouth, like they call it Alexander the Great esophagus or something. There's a real meaning behind that. Like there's real um, a real story behind sort of like what happened to Alexander the Great when he was killed. And he was a Greek king back in, like, this is all before Christ, like 323 BC or something like that. So um, it's I like how they tied his story, like the story, and pull bits and pieces of that and put it in the show.
And I'm trying to remember if Alexander was one of the ones tied to Cleopatra, because he goes back to that. He did have relationships with Egypt and stuff.
Yeah. He was like, he went on a warpath. His father was assassinated, and they went on they had the biggest army, and they just tore through like a lot of countries, and he was ruling them all, and stuff like that. Of course, that's none of that stuff is sustainable.
Right.
So he was, I don't know. There's a few, I don't know. You got to look it up. There's a few stories about like how he died. Was he killed, or was he assassinated? Why is a great king being mummified in Egypt and stuff like that? That whole sort of mystery around Alexander the Great still carries on to this day. I mean, there's a lot of archaeological stuff that goes on. I wish I had more information on it, but I have to study up. There's just too much to. His story is very complex, and it was.
Another Alexander the Great fact.
Ago.
His favorite horse was named Bocephus, which is where Hank Sr. got the name for his child, Hank Jr. Bocephus was the name of Alexander the Great's horse.
Mm. Yeah, see,
okay.
There's a whole bunch of stuff in that story about Alexander the Great. But I like how Moonknight. I like how they added that sort of complexity to the movie. Well, to the show. And stuff like that.
Now, I am a little bit sad that, Khonshu is kind of like locked up at this point, right? So we get no Moon Knight. We get no superhero. We just get Mark and Steven at their normal selves, and we get Layla, and we get the villain. Yeah. And at this point, I mean, kind of like Haru's men walk in there, and they're asked, they kind of know what's going on, and they want him to hand stuff over, and he's not going for it. He tries to fight back, and I think he did a great job fighting back.
Yeah, Mark did. Yeah.
But it just didn't go in his favor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was shot.
Nice try, though. Nice try.
Yeah. He tried, valiant effort with no gun. I mean, I think if he had a gun, it would have been a different situation. But he had no gun, so he had an axe and did what he could. And he got shot twice and fell into the little stream thing there. And
the stream thing inside the pyramid. That's another question I have, but we're gonna leave that for
where's the water coming from?
Yeah. And where's it going? It's like
yeah. And then how's the pyramid so well lit?
Yeah. The only pyramid with indoor plumbing, apparently. I don't
and as everything is well lit and everything is yeah. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there, but yeah.
It seems like his fall in the water, he descends a lot further than, how big that water puddle should be, or whatever the purpose of it is. Yeah. And then when he descends into the depths, he kind of like wakes up in this mental asylum, like hospital,
Mm-hmm.
And
I wouldn't necessarily, even though that's what it appears should be, it was extreme. To me, it was like very white. It was very pure. It was beyond hospital asylum. It was just a very pure place. There's no.
It was clean.
It was very clean. Yes.
Yeah, everything was bright and stuff. So, yeah, that was interesting. The whole hospital stuff, right? Just thinking about like how he was, trying to figure out. He couldn't walk. He's trying to figure out what's going on. He was like, I shouldn't be here, and all that stuff. So crazy.
Andy was drugged at first. At least, even as he came to, he realized he was really doped up. I mean, they showed us his vision was whacked. He
Yeah.
So at least in the way they were showing it, in his mind at that point, he was very drugged up, trying to remember things and concentrate on things, and and in different ways they kept trying to distract him from what he was trying to focus on.
Yeah. Like all the characters in the show had shown up in this final these final scenes in the hospital. Like all these different characters that were part of the show were in there. It's pretty cool to re-see some of them again. I was like, is he really? Did he just wake up from a bad dream? Is Moonknight real?
And then one thing, I don't know if it's going to play into it, but we saw him fall out of the chair and drop the Moonknight action figure.
Action figure, right?
We never saw him like reclaim that action figure, and I wonder if that may play into it as they're trying to get back out. Because if it's all metaphysical, he may have to reclaim that action figure to,
Well, remember he had her spirit thing and the toy, like the little stone thing. He had it, on him, and then when he got shot, he still had it on him. So
did he? I thought he passed it to her. No,
he never gave it back to her. Oh. She doesn't have it. Yeah. So that's another point that you're making, right? So was the Moonknight the actual her? Right? It's just so it's confusing.
But that okay. So I'm going to bring up a question that I've been trying to figure out. If all the gods put the bad god away once before, and they don't believe him when he says this guy's trying to free her and bring her to again, and they're like, no, you're full of stuff. As soon as he does that, aren't the other gods going to go, hey, they were right. We need to deal with this. And I know it took all the other gods, but did you notice when they put I can't remember the god's name, the Moonknight,
Khonshu,
when they put his figure in the display, all the other gods that have been locked away are in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't they all be freed as well to help deal with this issue? There's some parts of this story that I'm kind of like, seems like this would have been a much easier problem to solve much earlier on than where we're going.
Well, they probably don't want to unlock the other ones for reasons.
Yeah. Well, I understand that. But even when, he was going, well, Steven's a liar. Steven doesn't know what he's talking about. He said you got a bunch of guys out in the desert digging around. Let's go out there and check. But they didn't want to do that. They didn't try to confirm Steven's story at all.
Yeah.
They were just taking.
There's the one god that did, the god of love and music. Yeah.
Yeah. But the others were like, oh, nah, you're crazy. I'm like, all you got to do is check.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna see.
So when we're in this, asylum, there's a couple things that I like to point out because I know there's a lot of theories out there, right? And Paris is giving that look like, oh no, you're wrong, Carlo, you're wrong. But here, listen. So we're in Arthur's office where he is like the head psychologist or psychiatrist, whatever role he plays. And there's a lot of Egyptian artifacts around. Why would there be Egyptian artifacts in this place, right? Doesn't make any sense. Second, are we not supposed to be... If he was in an asylum, was he not supposed to be in England anyway? Why is everybody speaking perfect English?
Who knows where he is? Who knows where he's at?
The people in England will get mad at you for saying they don't speak perfect English. But
well, I mean, with the English accent.
I mean, U.S. English accent. U.S. United States accent.
Yeah, versus United States accent.
But what if he's just dreaming it all, and all the people that he's placing characters of are in?
It's not a dream. Okay, this isn't the Dallas season cliffhangers. Not a dream.
Not a dream.
Is it not a dream? It's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah, it might be a vision of some sort, but it's not in the same as way as being a dream.
Yeah,
I don't think this is his subconscious at work. I think this is something else.
something else. Trying to figure out what's going on because there's too many Stevens.
Or
Well, I mean, there's a Steven, there's a Mark.
well,
right?
or at least, and there's the other person that we don't know who it is yet, but they've made passing mention of in the previous
Yeah.
episode. No, there could be somebody trying to lead him out to the next step, but they need to get him to stay alive to do that. So
Mhm. Yeah,
they need
so
to
for
get him to
example, let's
stay
just
out of
say
the
he's in
light.
purgatory. Let's just say he's
Yeah.
in purgatory, right? And he's there. So what would Amit's plan would be for him? You know,
Get him to confess his sins so she can send him to the abyss. Because that's what she likes to do to mankind, is send him to the abyss, the black hole, the never-ending space.
And remember when what's his name tried to judge him, he couldn't judge him because there were mixed, because they had both Mark and Steven in there. She couldn't judge him, and whoever else, by the way, Mark,
Right.
Steven, and company. So
and co, right?
yeah. So that's why she couldn't judge him at that point. So she's trying to get him. Though this showed that they're now split, and even they were like, "How can we both be here?"
Mhm.
What's going on? They're not sure what's going on either. So
Yeah,
that's why I think it's not a dream, because that kind of thing you would think would wake you up or something. That kind of
Yep.
shock to the system.
oh, definitely.
And
Yeah.
then we see the other Egyptian god. And I can't remember
The name.
the proper name of the god. Hold on, I'm going to look that up. But Paul, go ahead, take over the convo and go.
All
from
I know
here.
is when I saw we were in asylum, I kept waiting to see Nurse Ratchet. For those of you who've never watched Nurse Ratchet or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, yeah.
Yeah. So the funny part is when Mark and Steven saw, they were screaming, like, ah!
You know what? And there was another sarcophagus in there with somebody banging on it that they ignored and they ran off. Did when they first started running down the hallway, there was another one and another door, and you saw somebody pounding on it, but they just kept going right before they cut to the end when you saw the next god.
Mm-hmm.
So there is somebody else locked up in there, locked away in there, whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was pounding in one of the.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to open it, but they sort of ignored it.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm wondering if that's the other person that they've made kind of mention of in passing. The previous episode when they said, "Did you do that?" No, I didn't do that. Did you? And I didn't do that. Well, somebody did, because that means they both blacked out while something else or somebody else took control.
Yeah, the other mental person that's inside.
Mark's that's right. So yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty dang interesting to tell the truth. I mean, we just don't know. It's crazy.
So her name is Tarit. So Tarit is kind of like a protector of childbirth and fertility. So why would she appear here out of nowhere, right?
Uh-oh. Mark's pregnant. Oh, no.
Maybe Layla's pregnant.
Yeah.
No. They haven't been together in a while, so no, that can't be that.
Unless Steven.
I mean, he got a kiss, but that was it. But they didn't really. The night it was the next day when they went to that tomb, so who knows what they did during the night. Right. But yeah, they didn't show anything like that, so probably not. But it's interesting. It's that God that showed up there. So,
by the way, I want to mention too that Layla, she never had a chance to tell Mark to go, that his final order was to go free me. Remember, tell Mark to go free me right before the end of the previous episode. So that's where we got to be going. Somehow Mark's got to get into where the gods are storing all of those figures and free, so he can become Moonknight again. Because, like you said, until he's free, we have no more Moon Knight. Until,
Well, yeah, Khonshu owns the power unless
Yep.
Mark and Steven figured out a way to summon it, which I probably think is going to happen. Just my thoughts on it.
Whoa, Paris, what do you know? What do you know? What do you know, Paris? Do you know something?
We'll see.
No spoilers, Paris. No
spoiler
spoilers.
alerts. Who knows? I don't know.
Unless another Egyptian god makes him the Avatar. In the meantime, until Khonshu's free.
There you go. Yeah. Somebody else has power of the Moon Knight.
I was gonna say, it would be another god with the same power of the Moon Knight to give him the same avatar, sitting him, the same.
Yeah.
Or maybe Tarit's like, you know what? Khonshu's my friend, and I'm gonna make you my avatar until we can free Khonshu.
Could be.
So then he's gonna be Moon Hippo? What? On the moon.
Oh yeah.
Hippo Knight. Hippo Knight.
I mean, you never know, right?
Yeah.
Makes an interesting visual. I'm
kind of excited for the next episode, to be honest. I think that the show is going places, and I can't wait to see what happens from here, because it is going to be kind of interesting, big, and it's going to show the next step of the story.
Yeah, the director said basically, hey, the next 2 episodes are going to blow your mind. So we are going to see, and we are excited for those next 2 episodes of Moon Knight. Can't wait.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the funny thing is after these next 2 episodes of Moon Knight come out, guess what? Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness hits the theaters May.
Zombies.
May the
Zombies.
6th. May 5th or 6th.
Stop it. No zombies.
Zombies.
Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which is tickets are going fast right now. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, got to get them now, because it's selling.
I'm probably not going to see it at least before the con, because my main focus right now is the con.
The con? When's the MegaCon?
The 19th through the 23rd.
19th through the 22nd.
Of what?
No, it's 4 days long, dude. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, you guys, Doctor Strange would have been out 2 weeks before MegaCon. So
yeah.
2 or 3 weeks.
So anybody's watching going to be in the Orlando area, Carlo and I and Dreadpool are all going to be at the con. You can hunt us down.
Celebrity Pineapple Paul.
Stop it. Carlo will be the one limping.
But no, in all seriousness, yeah, you can definitely find us. We'll be at MegaCon covering the event. Really excited for that. And before we get out of here, Paris, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at PLock77, and you
had to think about it. What year?
You can find me at Pineapple77.
Ooh.
No. You can find me at PLock on Twitter, 77. And you can check us out in the Marvel Facebook group on Facebook's Marvel Cinematic Universe Facebook group is pretty big. Lots of stuff going on, lots of theories. Join up, have some fun, talk all things Marvel. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Celebrity Pineapple Paul. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Twitter at CerebralPaul1. And Twitch and YouTube at Cerebral Paul. And you can find me on Xbox Ambassador's Twitch channel every Monday morning / afternoon / evening at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, or 6 p.m. UTC. And where I do a show called Gaming Differently with Cerebral Paul, where we focus on gaming with disabilities, which is what I do. So there you go.
Nice.
I was thinking you were going to say you can find me in Hawaii underneath a.
I wish,
tree.
Yeah.
You know, underneath a pineapple tree, sipping on a pina colada.
Nope. Underneath the mango tree, Mahoney. Yes, underneath the mango tree, Mahoney.
Well, everybody, you can find me here on the MCU Aftershow. You can find me in the Marvel Cinematic Facebook group as well, the one with 533,000 plus members. And you can find me on 4GQ TV, where we talk about video games every week and fun stuff. So until next time, one other thing, guys, we're uploading a video of Sarah Sikora, voice actress, coming up. So stay tuned for that. I got to edit it and it will be up. All right, everybody, until next time, see you guys later.
Moonknight.